Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and welcome back to another episode of the Speculation series for the next Three Kingdoms title from Creative Assembly. So in our last few episodes, we have been discussing character designs, and today we will continue that with a short discussion about items in the game. Now for the most part, the current inventory system of weapon, armor, mount, follower, and ancillary works perfectly fine. And while there are small complaints such as the bounded armor system for unique generals or the over-reliance on weapon damage to determine a character's strength, I at least understand the design challenges that made these systems this way. While I don't have a great solution to the bounded armor system, as it's more or less a graphic and 3D modeling issue, perhaps just introducing more unique characters and thus more unique armors would make the feeling of losing one of these armors when a character dies of old age feels less of a loss. And having something bounded to a certain character does provide a great anchor for potential set bonuses that are designed to be unique to any given character. And speaking of these set bonuses, I think if I can fix one thing about the current power levels of weapons, is that for certain iconic weapons, that is often associated with a given character, instead of making that weapon incredible on its own, shifting a decent chunk of the power to a set bonus with that bounded armor would be a better way to create these weapons. For example, Lü Bu Skypiercer, which is historically a very heavy weapon, given it has the two-sided Z design, should come by default with very high damage, causes terror, but a penalty to attack speed. But if it's in a set bonus with Lü Bu's armor, there is a attack speed bonus that will offset the penalty because only Lü Bu is strong enough to wield it. And in addition to that, a lot of the current damage on the weapon can be shifted to the set bonus where you can have a percentage increase to the damage if it's attached to the right character, and also the Unbreakable should only be applied to Lü Bu, which will make him special through this set bonus, and not the Skypiercer. This way, as a player, I would still feel pretty elated if I can acquire the Skypiercer, as it will still have very high damage and cause terror, but a generic Vanguard on my roster would not just become a clone of Lü Bu the second I equip the weapon on him. Likewise, similar things can be done with other items that are associated with any given character such as mounts, bows, where a set bonus should be added to the bound armor for the character associated with these items to put most of the power just for those characters. And in addition to adding these set bonuses, the developer should also consider coding the AI to manage the inventory of a given faction by prioritizing set bonus completion on armors, as it will ensure these sets are not stolen by faction leaders who have a terrible habit of taking key items off of famous characters within their own faction. And these set bonus can be a great way for players who are less familiar with the Three Kingdom backstory to know right away which famous items, horses, bows, or weapons belong to which character, while still giving them the option to equip them on whomever they wish. Now, aside from this change, if there was something about the current system that I would like to change, it's probably the introduction of a designated bow slot instead of putting it as an ancillary. With how often character equipped bows or other ranged weapons such as throwing Zi as a sidearm in the Romance of Three Kingdom, and historically, it would make more sense to give every general a sidearm slot for a range alternative weapon, rather than having it occupy the ancillary slot, which is more suited for trinkets and books. And speaking of books, as we mentioned before in our province and commandery videos, I hope the generation of items can be improved. For example, school buildings can periodically create book ancillary and scholarly follower items, much like how the Forge currently generate weapons, armors, and bows. And Toolmaker counties should produce trinkets in the same manner as the horses, weapons, and armor counties. And of course, the option to customize counties would be a wonderful touch, as I mentioned before, even though it's probably not going to happen, given how maps generally works in Total War games. And that's going to do it for this episode. It's rather short, because for the most part, I feel the current item system is fine, and only needs some minor tweaks. Of course, there are actually a ton of more famous horses and weapons they could add to the game, but hopefully they will in the new title while retaining the current ones. Now, this will be our last episode on the topics of character design, as we have already covered everything from traits, skill trees, character classes, and now items. And starting next week, I will shift the discussion to some battle changes, as RTS Battle is a huge draw for Total War games, and I feel like there are loads of improvements that can be made. So until then, bye!